Let's continue this conversation with former Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake, a woman who has become all too familiar with pro-Democrat Republicans. Nice to see you again, lady. Well, we're now learning that the National Archives has 5,400 emails, just 5,400 emails with Biden's pseudonyms, Robert L. Peters and Robin Ware and Bob Peters. You can't insert joke here. That was discovered through a Freedom of Information Act request by the Southern Eastern Legal Foundation. So the corrupt National Archives knew that Joe Biden was using fake names, feeding government information to Hunter, and NARA turned around and then spent all of their time complaining about Trump not handing over cocktail napkins from the White House. And that's not all. Our James Rosen revealing it was the Defense Department that was hosting Biden's email server. That's right. The Defense Department aided Joe Biden in using fake names to feed government information to Hunter Biden, Kari. Do you think Americans are finally realizing that their tax dollars are feeding the very corruption that is leading to such misery in this country?
I do think they're waking up, Chris, and realizing that every corner of our federal government has just gone corrupt. And you brought up NARA. I mean, 18 months ago, they watched as President Trump's staff packed up the boxes of declassified documents, loaded it up, brought it to Mar-a-Lago, and then, surprise, surprise, they end up going after him and raiding Mar-a-Lago. Meantime, they know all of these emails exist with Joe Biden's pseudonym. And who knows who they were written to? Maybe they were written to Obama under his pseudonym or his hidden email. And they have been running cover for Joe Biden. I don't care what you call him. If you call him Robert Peters, if you call him Pedo Pete, if you call him Brandon like the American people do, if you call him Corrupt Joe like President Trump does, I just call him the bumbling fool in the White House. I will tell you this, the American people are wide awake to what's going on, and they just want him out of the White House. And I believe they want President Trump back in there to turn things around.
Well, this all follows the revelation that Biden's staffers, they actually met with Special Inquisitor Jack Smith's aides shortly before they brought charges against President Trump. Those charges were supposed to make Trump, as you know, unelectable. But new polling shows Trump with a significant lead as the GOP candidate. Many polls showing him beating Joe Biden or within the margin of error to Joe Biden. Why do you think the Democrats' efforts against Trump with all of these politicized indictments are backfiring?
Well, because it's just so obvious. I mean, they've been going after him since he decided as an outsider to step in and run for office, as a citizen politician. And they have been doing witch hunt after witch hunt after witch hunt. And I think that the American people have just woken up to all of these witch hunts, and they see these indictments as just another witch hunt, another way to try to get Trump. And they've been watching as the fake news works right there in tandem with the corrupt federal government. And they're sick of it because now they're realizing after a couple of years of Joe Biden that, wow, it really was President Trump who was in there fighting for the American people, because they're seeing how Joe Biden isn't doing anything for the American people. He's doing much more for the people in Ukraine and for the corrupt individuals in Ukraine to stoke war there than he is to even help American citizens in Maui whose entire neighborhood and lives have been torched, and he's doing absolutely nothing for them. So the people are just seeing these double standards, the hypocrisy, the lies, and the corruption. And that's why what the Democrats are polling isn't working.
Former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich is making a bombshell accusation about DOJ collusion. And the aptly named Georgia DA Fani Willis, recent interview, he said, quote, Friday evening, somebody from Washington called the district attorney in Atlanta and said, you have to indict Trump on Monday. We have to cover up all the mistakes we just made with Weiss. And Fani allegedly said, my jurors aren't even back till Tuesday. And they said, you didn't hear me. You have to indict on Monday, end of quote. That's what Newt is saying. Couple this with reporting from the Federalist, where emails now show Hunter Biden's special protector, David Weiss, was not there to investigate Hunter, but to run interference against GOP investigations on the Bidens. Kari, what do these revelations reveal about the depth of corruption of our own government?
Well, now it all makes sense, doesn't it? Because we were seeing how these indictments were rolled out seemingly within 12 to 24 hours after some bad news would come out about the Biden crime family. And now it is all making sense. It was rushed even though there was nothing there, it was rushed because they had to take the heat off of Biden so that their buddies in the fake news wouldn't have to do a 24 or 36-hour coverage of Joe Biden's crimes, of the Biden crime family. They're always trying to give the fake news media cover so that they don't have to talk about the real crime out there, which is the man sitting in the White House has sold out America to the highest bidder. He's sold us out to the CCP, to Ukraine, Kazakhstan. He's taken millions from the Moscow mayor's wife. And so it all makes sense of this timing. And as we're now seeing it, Chris, the timing of how they are going to be laying out these trials, witch hunt trials, to coincide with really important days on the campaign trail. This is election interference. Mm-hmm. They are so desperate to make sure that Trump doesn't win in 2024 because they know the people are with him. They know that he's going to win in huge numbers. And so they're trying to keep him off the ballot, prevent him from being able to campaign. And it's just very apparent. Every day, I believe more and more, everyday Americans who maybe haven't even been paying attention are seeing this play out and going, this is not right. This is not right. Even if they weren't for President Trump, they just realized this is not how our government is supposed to operate, coming after the people.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Now, last question I want to ask you is something you are intimately familiar with, and that is the timidity or the complicity of the Republican Party, some elements of the Republican Party with the Democrats. Despite the mounting corruption, this avalanche of evidence on the Bidens, House Republicans seem to be tripping all over themselves to avoid impeaching Biden. Of course, Democrats were already well on their way to their second impeachment of Trump at this time. And it's caught the attention of President Trump. He said, quote, "I never had an impeachment inquiry. I had an impeachment, which I won. It was started immediately. No meetings, no study, no delays. The lunatic fascists and Marxists play the game differently. They're out to destroy America." And he says, make America great again. Kari, does the GOP, with its current weak and rudderless values and leadership, do they have a prayer of standing up against all of this corruption the Democrats are dishing out?
Makes me wonder if some of them are guilty of similar crimes, because why wouldn't they go after Joe Biden and the 20 shell companies that his family has set up so that the big guy could get his share of all of the dealings that were made, and he would change and affect policy in the United States to help the guys in Russia, help the guys in Ukraine with Burisma, whoever he had to help with shaping our policy here, because he was taking money from them. Makes me wonder why the Republicans in D.C. won't do this. It makes no sense at all. You know, if they don't impeach him, the Democrats, I guess, will just have to live with the embarrassment of one more bad news story after the next, one more stumbling upstairs, tripping and falling. But I would really like to see him impeached, because I think if you can't impeach a person sitting in the White House, President Biden, if you can't impeach him for taking bribes and money, and just the tax implications, he didn't even file taxes for all this money that he was taking. If you can't find something to impeach him on with all of that, then they are a lost cause, that whole lot of people back in D.C.
The man admitted he's been stealing classified information since 1974. I mean, on that, you think Joe Biden isn't contesting the fact that he's had classified information stuffed in, next to his Corvette or in various places accessible by communist China and others. He's not even contesting that. Oh, but that's okay. We can't impeach him for any of that either. Kari Lake, thank you very much, lady.
Don't have a spy.
I really appreciate.
They don't have a spy.
I know, and it's frustrating as hell, isn't it? Thank you, lady. I appreciate the time.